Good evening, and thanks for coming to Back to School Night virtually at Vista Marietta High School. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Gavin Harrison, and I'm the Senior Aerospace Science Instructor for CA 20081, which is our unit number for the Air Force Junior ROTC unit here at Vista Marietta High School, the largest Air Force Junior ROTC unit on the West Coast, and also, in my humble opinion, the best ROTC unit west of the Mississippi. We're very happy to have your students involved in our program. They make the program. The things that this unit and these students add to their school and their community through their efforts is just outstanding every year. We all look forward very much to getting back here live and letting them get back to some of the work that they do. In the meantime, I'm going to talk about the aerospace science portion of our curriculum, all four grades. I was an Air Force pilot for 24 years, flying C-141s and C-17s all over the world, and I'm still flying for fun with a couple of organizations that preserve old aircraft here in the local area. So getting to talk about aviation in almost any regard is something that I'd almost do for free, but don't tell the school district I said that. I enjoy this topic, and I try to make it as fun and interesting for the cadets as I can. As you probably know, aviation science is one of three parts of our overall curriculum. There's aerospace studies, leadership education, and also PT or physical training. So I'll cover the aerospace studies, and I think Sergeant Spear has got the leadership education, and you'll hear about other parts of our program. So freshman year, aerospace studies, freshman year, is the history of aviation. And we study aviation from ancient times when men were just dreaming and writing myths about aviation through some of the early Chinese kite flying, and then we take it through hot air balloons, gliders, and of course we have a great lesson about our heroes in Dayton, Ohio, the Wright brothers, who actually were the first ones to make it really happen with the powered aircraft. So after that, we track the progress and the developments in aviation in airplanes' abilities to fly faster, higher, be larger and heavier aircraft. A lot of that development is traced through things that were invented in wartime, but it's not a military history aviation class. It just so happens that warfare has always advanced or sped up the advancement of research and development where aviation is concerned. So it gets to be a little bit of an overall history of the world class while kind of focusing on the developments in aviation for that time. It's a fantastic course. I love teaching it, and we usually have a lot of fun with the freshmen in that class. Our sophomore curriculum for aerospace studies is the science of flight. This is where our students learn why does an airplane fly to begin with. A little bit of lightweight aerodynamics study that we do, and talking about Bernoulli's principles and lift and drag and thrust. And so we start with the basics of why an airplane can fly. That will lead us into how airplanes are designed to do different jobs and the different power plants that are needed to make airplanes do a variety of things, whether it be to go high or to go fast or to be really big and heavy or to fly for long periods of time. We get an idea of the different kinds of wings and the different kinds of power plants that are used to make those different jobs happen. Then we can take several different turns. There's usually not time in a year to get through the entire book. So there are other sciences that apply to aviation. Physiology. Well, what is the effect of altitude in aviation on the human body? We can also look at weather, and the atmosphere is one of the studies that we can take a look at. And also the development of jet engines is part of this study because there's a lot of things that people don't know about jet engines that actually gets to be pretty interesting. So I usually give the 10th graders a choice on which of those topics they think is most interesting, since, like I said, we probably don't have time to get through all of them. Junior year, our AS3 class, Aerospace Studies 3, is a look into the exploration of space. It starts out by just literally exploring a little bit about space ourselves, learning about our Earth and our gravitational pull and our relationship with our natural satellite, the moon, and how that affects tides and so many things. And then we look at our relationship with the rest of our solar system and why the planets stay in orbit and why we have an atmosphere and the other ones don't. All kinds of neat things just about space. We usually have an argument as to whether or not Pluto should have been kicked out of the Planet Club, and that's usually fun. It's pretty close voting on that one. And then we go and study sort of the history of man's exploration of space, starting from our early rocket development, when then with all the space programs, Mercury, all the way through the space shuttle, and now our new SpaceX equipment that's taking astronauts back up to space from the United States for the first time in a long time. And then we might get to talk a little bit about our the country's plans for going to Mars. And I'm encouraging our cadets that if that's going to happen, one of them may very well be involved in that mission in one way or the other. Finally, senior year, our AS4 class, it gets a little bit away from aviation. It's a study in the world cultures. And it's important, seniors, before they step out the door and graduate, they've heard, by the time they're seniors, they've heard a lot on the news about wars and disputes and trade agreements and things about the world and how all the different cultures relate with one another. But this study kind of gives a background on all these cultures. Why do they make the decisions they do? Why is there turmoil or peace in particular regions more than others? And it's a study of all the major cultures of the world. And it's a very useful class for someone who's about to go out into the world on their own and start forming opinions and knowledge and things that will be useful for maybe plotting their careers or how they're going to fit in to the world culture. So that's kind of the aerospace studies portion of JROTC. We've got 4 instructors in the program, and everybody gets involved in a little bit of each one of these curriculums. And we learn alongside the kids sometimes because the world is a changing place. As we speak, SpaceX is making plans for larger rockets to go farther, and the world is obviously changing on a daily basis. So we try to keep current and keep it real and give them information that's going to be helpful to them. We sure appreciate you allowing your students to participate in Air Force Junior ROTC, and we're going to try to do a great job by each and every one of them. Have a great evening.